Dave Minarik's byline first appeared in the pages of O-Gauge Railroading magazine in the June-July 2012 issue, run number 257. In that issue, Dave described how he and a few friends built the layout in his store, Mercer Junction. Dave is an avid modeler with a fantastic O-scale three-rail layout. He got started in model trains in a very common way.
Well, I think just like everybody else, I got a train when I was a young boy, and like everybody else, you kind of grow up and move away from trains, and then you get a job and some disposable income after college, and then you get back in the trains again, and then you get bit by the bug, and you have a layout, and then sometimes a train store.
While Dave may have gotten started in trains just like everybody else, getting started on this specific layout was a completely different story.
I have to tell you a little bit of a sad story. My brother passed away in an accident in 1998, and he was an avid train collector, and we kind of built this as a memorial to him to run his trains. And my father started this in 2000, and I was kind of not into the trains heavily at the time. And one day I asked him if he was ever going to finish the layout, and he threw me a scenery book from Scenic Express, and he said, all the materials are up there, go finish it. And I was just bit by the bug after that, and it's evolved 2 or 3 times since that point to the layout that you see here today.
The layout of today is a tribute to the steel mill roads around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Dave grew up in western Pennsylvania, so railroads like the Bessemer and Lake Erie, the Union Railroad, and the Pittsburgh and Lake Erie hold a significant spot in his memory. They also represent a significant part of the history of western Pennsylvania. Dave built the road for realistic operation.
I tend to be more of an operator where it's more important for me to have sidings and places to put cars. It's important to have yards to interchange cars through. We do operating sessions here maybe once or twice a month, and to me that's the most important part of operating trains is actual operations with switch lists and car destinations. That's where it's most fun for me.
Even though Dave enjoys realistic operation, other aspects of the hobby also trip his creative triggers.
I think I enjoy doing scenery and the basic modeling almost more than operating the trains. I enjoy painting the trains, I enjoy scratch building, I enjoy doing the scenery. Running the trains is kind of an added benefit that you get when everything is done. You know, that is the stage that you run your trains on. The layout is definitely the stage, and what I do is the new phone technology that's out there and the cameras and the videos ability in the cell phones now, I think I use that as a tool to see if my scene is okay. I can be a little bit convinced that it looks realistic, then I know I'm headed in the right direction.
Scenic realism is important to Dave, and it helps bring this railroad to life, along with lightly weathering his motive power and rolling stock. It's the realistic details in the industrial buildings that set this railroad apart from many others. Dave models the gritty world of industrial railroading, with some fantastic scratch-built models showing the steel industry in action. For example, this is the Elizabeth Steel Corporation's Evelyn No. 3 blast furnace.
The name came from my 2 grandmothers, Elizabeth Steel Corporation, and every blast furnace had a name, and Evelyn No. 3 furnace is named after my other grandmother. She was the tougher of the 2 grandmothers, and therefore she got the blast furnace name, and Elizabeth got the Steel Corporation name. This steel mill here, which is actually a blast furnace, would take raw materials of iron ore, limestone, and coke and turn it into iron. The iron is then poured into hot metal cars or bottle cars and taken to another furnace which would turn the iron into steel. This project has taken me up about 2 years now to get to this point, and it is 100% scratch built.
Dave used some uniquely different materials to build this blast furnace.
I use a lot of paper for corrugated sheets, and I run them through a crimper found in the scrapbooking section at Packatans or Michael's, and they are glued onto masonite for the body of the buildings. The blast furnace itself is made out of fiberglass and body filler and a little bit of foam. The piping is mostly PVC. All of the handrails are TIG rod that has been welded, or not welded, but soldered together. Because of its copper coating, it's a great material to use for railing. And the catwalks themselves are actually etched brass. And I either get those from Atlas or Precision Scale, depending on who has them in stock and what type of roof block I'm looking for to cut up for the deck plate.
A few miles down the railroad from the Evelyn No. 3 furnace is Magner Steel Works, a 6-stand rolling mill. This is another scratch-built model on Dave's railroad. In the steel industry, a rolling mill takes in large slabs of steel and rolls them into coils. Those coils are then shipped out to other companies who use that steel in the manufacture of various consumer products. Magner Steel Works is named for a fellow model railroader from Greenville, Pennsylvania. A little further along the main line is this industry, Vesuvius Crucibles.
Vesuvius Crucible, this is a real company. I believe it started in Pittsburgh, PA. The cars say Swissville, PA, and they definitely had offices and facilities in Swissville, PA.
The Tome Tipple is another special place on Dave's railroad.
The Tome Tipple was named after a very good friend of mine who passed away a few years ago. And he belonged to the model railroad group that we all get together usually on Tuesday nights. Doug passed away about 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought it would be a great way to honor him with a tipple named after him. And another good friend of mine built that structure from scratch. It is 100% scratch. Even the lumber was hand sawed.
No working railroad would be complete without a roundhouse and engine service facility.
Well, the roundhouse and engine servicing facility was kind of an afterthought. We had the space at the top of the stairs that was unused for the layout, and I thought it would be a great place to showcase a roundhouse and turntable. The roundhouse is actually a Corber, the smaller of the two roundhouses. The turntable is scratch built and will eventually be fitted with DCS. So it operates just like a locomotive would with the remote control. The other tipple on that in that facility there was also made by a very good friend of mine, Sam Lanfried, and he scratch built that 100%.
Out along the main line, there are a few impressive bridges.
The arch bridge is it's made out of foam, the 2-inch foam insulation, and it was hand carved and glued together and sanded and painted to look like concrete. Pretty easy project. Took me about an afternoon to build that one, but I think it looks great.
There's another bridge over at the east end of the yard. This bridge is on a swinging door, and Dave has used magnets to secure the bridge in the operating position. It's a solid design, and that's a good thing because every train in or out of the yard uses this bridge. The yard tracks and the main line on Dave's railroad are always busy. That is a lot of action with a lot of unique motive power.
I have mostly MTH, but I have some Lionel Legacy as well. I'm not stuck on one manufacturer. If somebody makes something that I like, that's what I buy, just because I like it, not because of who the manufacturer is. Atlas makes some great products, Lionel makes some great products, Mike's Train House makes some great products. Third Rail, also another great product out there. So I don't limit myself to one manufacturer. The same with rolling stock. You might find a flat car that one manufacturer makes a little bit nicer than the other, and that's what we go with, along with road name selection. That will determine what the products that we buy. Originally, if you look at the old control panel there, it's wired in blocks with toggle switches for conventional control. I think the cutting edge technology with Wi-Fi that the manufacturers are coming out with, I think that's where the future of this hobby is going. Most people have a smartphone, so if you invite people over to operate your trains and you don't have enough remotes to go around, you can load the free app into somebody's phone and be able to run trains. One of the other very, very positive aspects of the Wi-Fi is that it will control your switch machines through your AIU, and what that does is it frees you up from creating physical switch panels. And what you can do at that point is maybe buy a 6-pack of tablets, have them strategically placed around your layout, and operate your switches without hardwiring an old type switch panel.
In addition to being a model railroader, Dave is also a professional drummer and plays with the Clarks. He's been a professional musician since 1986. Being a musician has led to many unique life experiences, but there's one that really stands out.
One of the things I'm most proud of in my musical career is being able to play on David Letterman's show on the Ed Sullivan Theater stage, which so many artists have played on that stage over the years. And to be able to play there and experience the positive energy that is there was just magical. Had 2 record deals. I've traveled to Europe. I've seen and met people that I would not have ever met or seen through the industry. I think the music industry is one of the most unbiased industries out there as far as musicians getting along. It doesn't matter what your religion is, what race you are. The fact that you're another musician and you can interact with another musician out there and make something that's greater than the both of you is just magical.
Dave obviously enjoys the hobby very much, and he enjoys sharing his passion with others even more.
I think that the fun part about this hobby is sharing it with other people, definitely. It's okay to come up here and run trains and loops by yourself, but when you share it with other people and interact with other people, that's the great part of this hobby, and I would hope that everybody would feel the same way about this, because it is a hobby that brings people together. I think the best way to get people involved in the hobby is show them how far it's advanced technologically in the past 15 years. I think once they see that it's not just for around the Christmas tree anymore, and it gets you involved in art, carpentry, electronics, it gets you involved in history, and it just stimulates your mind. And I think once people see that there's something more to it than something going in a loop around the Christmas tree, it's a little more enticing.